Radhe Govinda, Govinda. Sorry, but are you putting, are you ready for me? Oh, I see. Sorry. We're ready for the Q&A session. Ladli Lal ki jai. What is Raga Nuga Bhakti? Bhakti or devotion is of two types. One is Vadhi Bhakti, the other is Raga Nuga Bhakti. So Vadhi Bhakti, let's understand that first. Vadhi Bhakti is the devotion that is practiced alongside with rituals. And there are many small rules and restrictions in it. For instance, you do this puja at this time, then you do that puja at that time. You sit in a certain way, you sit in a certain direction. So there are many rules and restrictions and many rituals. In Raga Nuga, and also main thing is that Vadhi Bhakti is devotion that is done out of fear. If I don't practice devotion, then I'm committing an offense. As a result, I will be sent to hell after death, and I will have to suffer the punishment of Naraklok, so I had better practice devotion. So Vadhi Bhakti is ruled by fear, whereas Raga Nuga Bhakti is ruled by interest. I love Shri Krishna. I want to love him. I want to practice devotion to him. And there are no small rules and restrictions that you have to sit in a certain way or you have to practice devotion only at that particular hour, because it is based on interest. And it's not as if there's no rules or no restrictions. It's just that there's one big rule and one big restriction that covers everything. And that is, Smartavyah satatam Vishnur Vismartavyo na jatu chit, Padma Puran. This verse from Padma Puran says that in Raga Nuga Bhakti, there is one do and one don't. So do always think of God. That's the rule. Always be thinking of God. And the don't is do not ever forget him. That is a restriction. Do always remember him and do not ever forget him. So there's one rule, one restriction, but in Vadhi Bhakti, which is ruled by fear, there are many small rules and restrictions. Like today is this day, so you don't eat this. Tomorrow is that day, then you observe that fast. So there are many fasts, there are many rituals, and in Raga Nuga Bhakti, which is ruled by interest and spontaneous love, there are no such small rules and restrictions, but one big rule and one big restriction. I want darshan of Shri Krishna. Will that upset other gods? There are no other gods. There are different forms of one God. And first of all, I'll make that correction. There's only one God, and with many different forms. In fact, countless forms. Ananta Nama Rupaya Vishnave. The one God has unlimited names and uncountable forms. And so if you worship Shri Krishna, there is no question of him getting of any other form of his getting upset. If there were two personalities, then you could think, oh, well, why are you worshiping him? Why not me? But there's only one personality, so there's no question of anyone getting upset. Lord Krishna can't say, well, another form of Lord Krishna cannot say, well, why are you worshiping that other form of mine? There's just one personality. If we are the divine soul, then what does that mean? Then does that mean we are God? No, in fact, the soul is divine by nature because the individual soul, the soul that lives within us, the soul that defines us, that is divine because it is a divine part and parcel of God. But we are not God. God is omniscient, all-knowing. We are ignorant. God is omnipresent. We are in one place at one time. God is omnipotent. We have very, very few powers to speak of. So we are certainly not God. But sometimes people say, Aham Brahmasmi. Many say, Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahma. I am God. So addressing this issue, Sri Maharaj Ji, Jagat Guru Uttam Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj has said in Bhakti Shatak, Jeev vich Paramatma, Atma vich Paramatma, करत निवास सदाय, याते कहूँ कहूँ आत्मा परमात्मा कहलाए. In this one couplet, Shri Maharaj Ji has answered a very difficult question. People have a very difficult time understanding why is it said Aham Brahmasmi. So Shri Maharaj Ji says, the Supreme Soul, God, lives within the individual soul, and that is why sometimes it is said, even by scriptures, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahma. That does not mean that the individual soul is the Supreme Soul. It just means that the Supreme Soul lives within the individual soul, and that's why it is said that the individual soul is the Supreme Soul. But other than that, there are so many differences. Of course, there are similarities also in that the Supreme Soul, God, is conscious, and the individual soul is also Chetan or conscious. The difference is that God is, Sri Krishna is Vibhuchit, unlimited consciousness, and the individual soul, on the other hand, is Anuchit, minute consciousness. In other words, the soul, it pervades one body, and that's it. That's Anuchit. And it is small, minute consciousness. But God is unlimited consciousness, that his consciousness is just unlimited. He dwells within everyone's heart. Another similarity we have with God is eternal. There's no beginning to God. God always was, is, will always be. In the same way, the individual soul was always in existence, is, and will always be in existence. Other than that, there are only differences. There are only differences. So we are ignorant, we are limited to one place at one time, and we have very few powers. So we are not God. Sometimes I feel confused as to what is the right thing to do. Why is Kirtan important? If work needs to be done, isn't that priority? Our scriptures, in other words, God has said in the scriptures, do your duty, do your work, at your place of work or at home, do your chores, fulfill your responsibilities, but at the same time practice devotion. So, just as a person finds time to do the dishes and to do the laundry and to work, go to the workplace and work for 8-9 hours every day, everyone has time to do Kirtan. And that Kirtan is a very important way, it's a very effective way of bringing God into the mind. And bringing God into the mind is why God gave us this human birth in the first place. So we can always find time to do Kirtan. It's not, God doesn't say do this or that. God says do this and that. So take care of your body, take care of your worldly duties, and also do devotion. So it is possible. Again, I will say, as I said yesterday, it's a matter of understanding the importance of doing it. So once we understand the importance, for instance, if a child doesn't understand the importance of brushing her teeth, and the mother is always saying, brush your teeth, then you can have breakfast. Brush your teeth before going to bed. And the child asks, why? Because she doesn't understand the importance. But when she gets a lot of cavities and has to go to the dentist, then the child says, Mommy, I promise I'll brush in the morning and at night. So now the child understands, and now she's willing to do it. So if we don't understand the importance of Kirtan, and I think over here, more than Kirtan, the person asking the question is really saying doing devotion. So not just Kirtan, not just the external Kirtan, chanting, but spending time thinking of God. So once we understand why it is important to love God and to spend time with God, then we find all the time we find a lot of time to do it. So it's a matter of understanding the importance. जब हम समझने लगते हैं कि भगवान क्यों ज़रूरी है, भगवान की भक्ति करनी आवश्यक क्यों है, तो एकदम से समय निकल आता है. तब हम कहते हैं तो समय ही समय हमारे पास भक्ति करने के लिए. अगर समय, हम कहते समय नहीं है, उसका एक ही मतलब है, विश्वास कीजिए, एक ही मतलब है, वो ये कि हमें भक्ति करने की, कीर्तन भक्ति करने की importance समझ में नहीं आई, इसलिए हम नहीं करते. जैसे हम सो जाते हैं कीर्तन में, इसका मतलब एक ही है कि हमें रुचि नहीं है. रुचि नहीं है क्योंकि हमें इसकी इम्पोर्टेंस नहीं पता है. ठीक है. तो इसी तरह से जब जिस चीज़ की इम्पोर्टेंस पता होती है उसके लिए समय निकल ही आता है. सो as soon as we start understanding the importance of doing devotion, the importance of doing kirtan, we will find the time for it. Time suddenly appears. I think God is important, but I have kids and family to take care of. I can't do as much as I want to, so what will happen to me when I die? Well, you know, for householders, the best examples of devotees who are devotees of the highest caliber are the gopis, the milk maidens of Vrindavan. So they had families to take care of. They had a spouse, they had in-laws, mother-in-law, father-in-law, and they had children. They had so much to do, and everything that these gopis were doing was from scratch. So it wasn't like they had some pre-made mixes or sauces or anything like that. They were doing everything from scratch. So just think about how much time it would have taken gopis to take care of their family's needs, daily needs. They could not just open the tap and get water. They had to get it from the Yamuna River. And then they would balance 1, 2, 3 pots of water on their heads and then bring it home for daily consumption and daily usage. So if they found the time to do devotion, every householder and everyone, by extension, can find time. Again, it's a matter of understanding the importance. Now, yes, I'm a householder, I have lots of duties. Then when you start to prioritize, then you find you also try to make a schedule for yourself. And you work within that schedule. I do understand it's difficult as a householder, there's so much to do, but at the same time, God sent us here as humans to do this. So what can I do? Do more karma yoga sadhana. As you are doing your daily chores, as you are taking care of your family, your children, the cooking and the cleaning and so much, hats off to you. Then as you're doing this, visualize that Shri Krishna is looking at you. He is a part of your daily life. He's a part of your daily activities. And this is what Shri Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yat juhosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. In the 9th chapter, Shri Krishna says in the Gita, "O Arjun, whatever you do, offer it to me. Whatever you eat, offer it to me. Whatever charitable work you do, offer it all to me." So do more karma yoga sadhana so that your mind becomes accustomed of thinking that my beloved Shyamsundar is with me all the time. And at the same time, do at least one hour of karma sannyas sadhana. It has to do with looking at everything else you're doing in life. How much are you sleeping? Are you sleeping 8, 9 hours? Then sleep 6 hours, because that's the recommended amount. Are you spending a lot of time on the phone? Also, are there activities that you can cut down on? It's a matter of finding your priority and prioritizing devotion, but at the same time, taking care of your family. What's the story behind Shaligram and Tulsi Maya? Tulsi was a devotee named Vrinda. She was married to Jalandhar. He was a demon, Rakshas. Shri Krishna, he knew about the atrocities of Jalandhar, and he decided to kill Jalandhar, but he couldn't do it because his wife, Vrinda, was very chaste. She was pativrata. She had never thought anything against her husband. She was always favorable, and she never thought of any other man besides her husband, so she was pativrata. Pativrata does not mean that she's married to one man. She never finds fault with him, no matter how his conduct is. That's pativrata. So she was pativrata. And so as long as she was pativrata, her husband could not be killed. So Shri Krishna, one day when Jalandhar, Vrinda's husband, was away, Shri Krishna went to her in the form of her husband. And so she thought that that's her husband. And so she behaved with him as every wife would do with her husband. So now she was no longer pativrata. Even though she was deceived into doing this, she was no longer pativrata, and Jalandhar was killed. When Vrinda found out, she was very angry with Sri Krishna. She said, "You have killed my husband. You are responsible for this." And so she turned him into stone, and he's known as Shaligram. And she said that since you have taken my husband away, then you will have to marry me. So she took the form of a plant, the sacred Tulsi, and she got married to Shaligram, Bhagwan Sri Krishna in the form of a round, shiny black stone. So every year we celebrate the wedding of Tulsi and Shaligram. I say, Jai Tulsi, Jai Shaligram. Tulsi and Shaligram, that is a story. It's a story of devotee and the Lord. Is it required to wear Tulsi Mala for Vaishnav? No. Again, being from the Raga Nuga tradition, there's no such compulsion. You can wear it if you want. If you don't want, you don't have to wear it. So, plus sometimes if we wear something, I'm a Vaishnav, the pride is there. I'm a Vaishnav. As opposed to you're not wearing a Tulsi Mala, you're not a Vaishnav. So Sri Maharaj Ji has taken us away from all that. That no, there's no need to wear a Tulsi Mala, but if you feel like it, you go ahead, wear it. Is Kripaluji Maharaj Krishna avatar? If I tell you, will you believe it? My own feeling is, my own faith is, unshakable, unbreakable faith is, and that he is. Absolutely he is. But again, that's not a question that should be asked, because that is something that is your personal faith, your personal belief. And I would never say to you, you should believe it because I believe it. No. In fact, once I met a woman and she said, looking at Maharajji's photo, I feel like he's divine. I said, that's not the way to tell whether he's divine. You need to hear his teachings. You need to listen to his teachings, get the answers to your questions. You need to follow the teachings. You need to do sadhana as he prescribes. And then you will know that whether he is or not. But today you have good feelings towards him, and tomorrow you'll say, I'm looking at the picture, I don't think he's a saint at all. So this is not faith. Faith is born out of, faith is something that is very strong, that should be very strong, and faith it doesn't just come up like this. At times it does, because of previous birth, a person feels gravitated towards a guru, and they understand that this is who he is, that this is Sri Krishna or whatever. But you cannot ask someone else that question, because you'll have to figure this out for yourself. You will have to, and it takes time. It takes time. Everyone has different sanskars. Everyone has different sanskars. So everyone will not have the same feeling. Everyone will not understand at the same time. Everybody's at different places in their journey. So yes, I would say yes, he is. Ever since I've moved to Sri Maharaj Ji as my guru, I've stopped doing Ekadashi Vrat. I feel guilty. Please provide guidance. Yes. So Sri Maharaj Ji had never said do the Ekadashi Vrat, but don't feel guilty, because when you follow a guru, follow him wholeheartedly. Trust him that he is saying the right thing. Don't trust your mind, trust your guru. And Sri Maharaj Ji's method was, on Mondays and Thursdays, don't eat after 3 p.m. That is a vrat, that is how you fast. That is the fasting, and that's not for any other reason except for giving your internal organs a little rest. Please, let this music stop from the cell phones. Everybody, please check your cell phones to make sure they've been turned off. Everybody, please do that. 2 have gone off so far. Thank you. अभी फाइन लगने वाला है आप लोगों को, जुर्माना लगेगा. All right. So don't feel guilty. about not observing Ekadashi and understand that Sri Maharaj-ji, now he would not say don't do it. So if you really feel guilty, you feel that's really helping you devotionally, go ahead and do it. But if you feel, no, I want to be ananya to my guru and I want to follow him exactly, then Sri Maharaj-ji's method, you should accept that. And that is Mondays and Thursdays, don't eat after 3 p.m. At the same time, like I said, Maharaj-ji would never say, you are still doing Ekadashi Vrat and you're my satsangi. He was not like that. He's not like that. But I tell you, once there was a devotee and he was sitting amongst others and he was a newcomer and Maharaj-ji said, why aren't you eating? And his friend said, Maharaj-ji, he's come for the first time. He is observing a fast, doing a vrat. And Maharaj-ji said, gave him food to eat. Maharaj-ji said, now you belong to me. You eat properly and do a lot of devotion. So, ठीक khao aur खूब bhakti karo. So that's Maharaj-ji's instruction. So it's up to you to decide, but I would say there's no need to feel guilty. I think feeling guilty should be when you don't do devotion, when you don't do रूप ध्यान. हम एकादशी का व्रत नहीं रखते, तो क्या हमें लगता है गिल्टी फीलिंग होती है? मैं ये कहूँगी कि गिल्टी फीलिंग तब होनी चाहिए जब हम रूप ध्यान नहीं करते. ये सबके लिए है, हम सब के लिए है कि जब हम रूप ध्यान नहीं करते, हम सेवा नहीं करते, तो गिल्टी फीलिंग होनी चाहिए. लेकिन जो गुरु ने कह रखा है तो पूरी तरह से गिल्ट चली जानी चाहिए. It is said Shri Krishna Bhagavan is avatar of Bhagavan Vishnu. Whom to worship more? Are both same or is any difference between them? Actually, Shri Krishna is the avatari. And it is said in the scriptures, Govind Yasyaika nishvasita kalamathavalambya jivanti loma vilaja jagadandanatha Vishnur mahansa ihayasya kala vishesho govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Shri Krishna, whose partial manifestation is Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu is the very majestic aspect, the godly aspect of Shri Krishna. And that aspect does not help us as much as the loving aspect of Shri Krishna. So what helps us more devotionally is to think about Shri Krishna and to form relationships with Shri Krishna. You cannot form a relationship with Mahavishnu. He's too distant from us. They are both the same, but Shri Krishna is the loving and merciful aspect, and Mahavishnu is the majestic aspect. Is worshipping any other god other than Lord Krishna and Ram considered wrong? I notice people do not like talking about any other god here at Yugal Kunj. No, we understand. In Yugal Kunj, if somebody is following the philosophy of Maharaj-ji, they understand that every form of God is absolutely equal. But I will tell you why. I think when you say people don't like talking about any other one, it's because maybe you're thinking that because we don't have any other forms, except, of course, Bhagwan Ram is there, Hanumanji is there. But because there is there's a need for an aspiring devotee to worship one single form of God. Our mind is extremely worldly. हमारा संसार मन बहुत संसारी है. भगवान में नहीं लगता तो नहीं लगता, बस नहीं लगता. मन कहता है मुझे संसार अच्छा लगता है, संसार भाता है, और भगवान नहीं अच्छे लगते, जाओ क्या कर लोगे. तो हम कहते हैं अरे अच्छा एक ही इष्ट देव का ध्यान करो. उसमें भी मुश्किल आती है मन को, तो हम 2, 3, 4, 5 को कैसे झेलेंगे. तो इसलिए एक की ही भक्ति सिखाई है श्री महाराज जी ने. शास्त्रों में भी यही लिखा है. अनन्य भक्ति का पाठ पढ़ाया है भगवान ने भी गीता में. So here at Yugal Kunj, we are exclusively devoted to Bhagwan Shri Krishna. Yet when Ganesh Chaturthi comes, we have Ganesh Ji's Murti, we have Durga Maiya's Murti. We will have that space is reserved for that. But we don't worship the other forms throughout the year, but we completely understand that one God, many forms. So to disrespect any form of God would be to disrespect Shri Krishna, your own Ishtadev. But at the same time, from the point of view of practicality, we worship one form because the mind finds it difficult. Our mind finds it difficult to focus on even one single form of God. Then we have no business trying to focus on more than one form of God. Should I do Nam Jap of Krishna or Rup Dhyan? When you do Nam Jap, I guess you mean chanting. When you do the chanting, that helps you to do Rup Dhyan. So as you chant, you should do Rup Dhyan. It's not one or the other. We're doing chanting, we are doing Kirtan, singing Kirtans, using our tongue. But the tongue does not practice devotion. The tongue is a helpful tool for the mind to think about Sri Krishna. So as we are singing the names and the glory of Lord Krishna, we are to do Rup Dhyan simultaneously. So both have to be done together. If I don't know how to sing Kirtan, how can I still do sadhana? And how? Of course you can. Because when you're at home, nobody's judging you. You say you don't know how to sing, but everybody can sing. You don't have to be a Lata Mangeshkar, or Muhammad Rafi, or Shreya Ghoshal. You don't have to be those good singers. You don't have to sing expertly like those singers, because God cares only about our heart. So you can go ahead and sing as you like. But if you really feel no, then you can, to help you sing, you can put on the Kirtan, listen to it, and then sing after the lead singer. But everyone can sing, and everyone can do sadhana. So you have external help. You have external help. Why is it bad to attend parties and social events, but we also meet people and socialize in temple too? When you go to a party and social event, it depends on, is it bad for you? Well, it depends on what you want out of life. If you say you want to be increasing your devotion, then party is not the right place for you to go to, because will you be listening to people talk about God over there? Not at all. Social events, you're going to hear about clothing and jewelry and the cricket match and the hockey match and whatever there is, and about politics. So if you want to be, if that pleases you and that's what you want to become more worldly, then that is fine. But I guess you're asking from the point of view of a seeker, why is it bad? Why is it harmful for me? So when you go to a party, again, as I said, you are going to listen to a lot of conversations. They will disturb you if you're a seeker. Somebody or the other will say something. It will upset you. Or maybe nobody has said anything that has upset you, but when you go home, then you say, oh, I wasted my time. And I know because people come to me and they tell me this. And then I say, well, then don't go. And they say, well, those are my friends. Then go. But I don't like it when I go. I cannot decide for you. So you want to go, but you don't want to go. You have to decide. So that is why it is not advisable for a seeker to go to different parties and social events. But it's up to the individual. At the temple, you're saying, the question is, at the temple you also socialize. Well, that's not recommended either, to socialize at the temple and to go on for hours and hours, if that's what you mean, to talking to everyone, and then you're doing the same thing in the temple. Maharajji's instruction was, when satsang is done, you just go home, and that's it. Now, if you are staying behind for seva, that's great, and you're doing seva, think about God, visualize Radha and Krishna and Maharajji when you're doing that. So socializing, if you think that I will say socializing in the temple is good, it's not. It's not. To know everybody's business, how many kids do you have, what do you do for a living, this and that is also not right. It is not right. Do you know how is Golok? I want to go to Golok ASAP. Me too. I want to go there too. I only know what I have been told by Sri Maharajji, that Golok is as a divine place. And as I was saying yesterday or day before, that everything in Golok is Sri Krishna, like the five elements. Sri Krishna is the space, air, fire, water, and earth. Shri Krishna is the sun and the moon and the planets. Shri Krishna is everything, and there's divine Yamuna flowing there, and that's all I know about Golok. Unless some of you have been there, you can tell us. A devotee had asked Maharaji, Maharaji, what are the activities in Golok? So that's why I was smiling. And Maharaji said very seriously, Gupta, let's you and I go there and we'll find out. So the same Mr. Gupta asked, Maharaji, what is, when I close my eyes and I want to do Rup Dhyan on Shri Krishna, I see black only. Maharaji said, because he is black. That's what you see. You're actually seeing him. Maharaji had a tremendous, tremendous sense of humor. Can you explain how to feel the way others feel the way others? I see them crying. Can you explain how to feel? I see them crying, but I don't feel like crying. How do I get that? How do I get that feeling that I want to cry also? You just think, oh Shri Krishna, why can I not cry for you? Am I such a sinner? I'm such a sinner that I cannot shed tears for you, and I want to cry for you. There was a devotee who lived 500 years ago in the time of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Many of you know this story. And he always heard from his guru, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, who was none other than Sri Radha and Krishna in one form. He was hearing from his guru that it is essential to cry for God. Because when you shed tears for God, then your heart melts, and the one you're crying for enters your heart. So if you cry for the world, you become more worldly. If you cry for God, you become more spiritual and more devotional. So he could not cry, and he felt really bad about it. And one day when he said, I've had enough, and I will punish my eyes. And he tried to cry during Kirtan, and Mahaprabhuji was leading the Kirtan. And he said, oh, what a sinner I am. I cannot cry, even when he is leading the Kirtan. So he said, that's it. He took a little package of chilies, and he applied that to both his eyes. And instantly tears were produced. Someone saw this and complained to Mahaprabhuji. Mahaprabhuji knew exactly what this man was doing, but still called him and said, Beta, son, do you use chilies to make you cry? He said, yes, because I'm such a sinner that I cannot cry, and so I use chilies today. Mahaprabhuji was very happy with him, and he embraced him and said, Beta, you don't have to use chilies for very much longer. You have understood the importance of crying, so there will be Ganga and Yamuna flowing from your eyes very soon. Simply because you've understood the importance of crying. And so that's what we have to do. We have to understand why we should cry. And we have to think, the one who is mine, the only one who is mine, Shri Krishna, God, I have never seen him. And when I saw him, I didn't recognize him. I don't hear him. I don't hear the sound of his flute. I have never been embraced by him. So I want to see him. I want to feed him with my own hands. I want to serve him. I want to inhale his divine fragrance. It's been countless lives and never seen him. And as King Dashrath said on his deathbed, Ha Raghunandan pran pirite, tum binu jiyat bahut din beete. O Ram, I have lived without you for too long now. Saying this, King Dashrath breathed his last. So I have lived without you for so long, and now I'm desperate to see you. So that desperation, try to increase that desperation, and then tears will come. And if tears don't come, just like that, there are many types of tears. Tears due to love for Shri Krishna, tears due to separation from him, tears of union, reunion with him, and tears of repentance also. You shed tears of repentance. Tears of gratitude also. I know theoretically I should do more sadhana, but still don't end up doing it, and I feel guilty, but I still waste time and I know I shouldn't. Why is this? Because you're careless? That's it. Because we are careless, and that's not just one person. This is a question that all of us have. Because we are careless. I know theoretically I should do more sadhana, but I haven't accepted it. I know it, but I haven't accepted this fact. There's a big difference between knowledge and acceptance. So to know something, I know I should do sadhana. but I don't really accept it, so I don't do it. So the answer to this question, which is many people's question, I think every sadhak's question is, I still waste time. Why do I do it? Because I have not accepted what I know. Like, I know it's wrong to tell lies, but I haven't accepted it, so I tell lies. I know it's not right to harm others, but I haven't accepted that fact, so I harm others through my actions, through my words, through my behavior. So knowledge and acceptance of that knowledge, two different things. How many lives does one have to take before achieving moksha? Or is it solely dependent on my spiritual journey? It depends on one's individual pace, how fast you're going, how diligently you are doing sadhana. When Vishnu and Krishna are the same, why does Vishnu live in Vaikuntha and Krishna in Krishnalok? Well, God has many different abodes. And so for the worshippers of Mahavishnu, those who devote themselves to Mahavishnu aspect, Paramatma aspect, they go to Vaikuntha Lok. They cannot go to Golok. And Krishna, but the same Mahavishnu in the sweet form, loving and forgiving form, is in playful form, one who performs many pastimes. He's in Golok, because then if he's in Vaikuntha Lok, then where would the worshippers of Sri Krishna go? They'll say, oh, you're in Vaikuntha? We don't want your majestic aspect. And if he's only in Golok, then the ones who have worshipped him as Mahavishnu, they're not qualified to go to Golok, so they cannot go there. So where will they go? That's why. We are told to not have any expectations. Then is expecting God to grace us incorrect? Is that Sakam Bhakti? Don't have any expectations of people in the world. That is why, and don't expect anything from people in the world. Otherwise you'll become disappointed. But is it expecting God to grace us incorrect? You don't have to expect him to grace you, because it's a given, he will grace. The only thing we have to think about is, am I worthy of his grace? Am I surrendering to him? Because grace comes to the one who is surrendered. Is that Sakam Bhakti? No, Sakam Bhakti is when you desire, let's say, that's not really a desire. I would say yes, that is Sakam Bhakti. That I'm doing this, so I want you to grace me. Don't even expect that. Just do your bhakti and do it very selflessly, without any expectation. Don't do it because you'll get that grace from him. Do it just because. Just because he's mine. Just because he's mine, that's it. I don't need any reason. Many times the vices of Maya take control of me, and I feel really guilty and think that God and Guru are disappointed. What should I do? Again, it depends on, so because you feel guilty, it means you want to make improvements in your devotion, and God and Guru become disappointed. So what should you do? You should be more careful, that's all. You have to be more careful. So there's no point in entertaining so much guilt. It serves no purpose. I feel guilty. Just don't do what makes you feel guilty afterwards. We just have to become more careful. Just have to be careful. While engaging in some work that is going to disappoint God and Guru, before we engage in it, then you have to say, is this going to please my Guru? Is this going to please Sri Krishna? No, I will not do it. Later on to say I feel guilty is counterproductive. हो गया काम, अब हम guilty feel कर रहे हैं, क्या फ़ायदा? पहले ही ना करें. So it's we are works in progress. So we have to get used to thinking before we do something. So before we engage in some work, we have to think, is this going to bring a smile to my Guru's face or a frown? Is it going to please Hari Guru or not? And then just don't do it. If it's going to make them frown, if it's going to make them unhappy. The trick is to live mindfully. Before you speak, think, what am I going to speak? Before you do something, think, what am I going to do? Is this worth doing? No, then don't do it. Because later on, if we feel guilty, You know, it's like you have thrown a dart at the dartboard, and that dart went into the dartboard, it made a mark. Now, when you pull the dart out, the mark is still there. So you've already done it. When we've already done something, the damage is done already. So it's better not to throw the dart in the first place. I heard that one becomes a mom after many sins, but we feel kids are God's grace. What is the right thing? If I already have kids, how can I still do bhakti? Oh no, that's not true. The one becomes a mother after many sins? Is it because of committing sins one becomes a mother? No. Definitely, kids are children. They are regard them as your duty, your responsibility, and of course you can do devotion, and you have a wonderful opportunity to teach those children about devotion as well. And the children represent, when they're so small, they remind us so much about God. And I remember once when a mother was about to just shed tears because of her kids, one child, Maharaji said, don't let the tears fall, because God has given you this child to take care of. So yes, God has given this responsibility to you, so fulfill that responsibility very carefully. And the biggest responsibility of a mother and father indeed is to guide their children towards God. No guilt over here. What is importance of the orange shawl? Is that the Radhe Shami? I guess that has the Radhe Gurave Namaha, Haraye Namaha written on it, and the name of Radha on it, and Guru Kripalur Mama Sharanam, Vandeham Sadguru Charanam. And these Radhe Shamis, the Haraye Namaha, Gurave Namaha, all those words, except for the one that's written on the side, that is Maharaji's own handwriting. It's the imprint of Maharaji's own handwriting. But the one on the side, Guru Kripalur Mama Sharanam, Vandeham Sadguru Charanam, that is not Sri Maharaji's writing, but Gurave Namah, Haraye Namah, and Radhe, that's on your shawls. So the importance of that shawl is that when you're wearing it, you're reminded that you're surrounded by God's grace and God's love. And you will then be more encouraged also to practice devotion, and you'll become mindful of God. Once in Vrindavan, Sri Maharaji said to the devotees, you people are going out too much and eating chaat and papadi and eating this and that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm making a rule. When you go out of the ashram, you must go wearing the Radhe Shami. So that stopped a lot of people from going out and having junk food. So it's a reminder for us. And that's why it is recommended by Sri Maharaji that we should wear it. Many of you are wearing it. In fact, everyone should be wearing it in sadhana. And some people did not know, but when you sit in a retreat and when you're doing sadhana, Sri Maharaji's recommendation was, he said it's a uniform. This Radhe Shami, well, I'm not wearing it, but you're wearing that. Many of you are wearing it, Radhe Shami. And then the tilak, that is a uniform of the devotee, aspiring devotee. What is the meaning behind the shivling? A shivling it represents Bhagwan Shiv himself. And so it represents Bhagwan Shiv himself. It represents Prakriti and Bhagwan both. So it's a representation of Lord Shiv. When Vishnu and... Okay, we already had that. How to know if our sadhana has started giving fruits and we are close to meeting God? Oh, believe me, you'll know. You will know. But anyway, Rup Goswami ji has said, when you're making progress on devotional path, you'll become very tolerant. Even while hearing words of abuse, you will not take offense. You will remain calm even when there is a reason to become agitated. You will not want to waste time in the world that let's say you're wasting time doing unimportant things. Your mind will not want to waste that time. You'll want to do more and more kirtan bhajan. You want to think more about God. You want to do more and more rup dhyan. and you will not want to possess so much material property. You will feel more like giving, more charitable. You will shed more tears for God. You'll want to, the world will lose its charm for you. It will not seem to be such, chamak dhamak. It just seems like very superficial. It doesn't give me any satisfaction. It's like in a song, in a bhajan, Jo mohi Ram lagate meethe, to shat ras. No, these are the words of Tulsidas ji. Jo mohi Ram lagate meethe, to shat ras, navaras, anaras ras, sab hai jaate phike, jo mohi Ram lagate meethe. If I had found Ram, Bhagwan, to be so sweet, then I would not be so attracted by the nectars of this world. If body and soul are intertwined, then is my personality and how I am the soul's nature? And if that's true, does that mean that I remain the same in every life I live? What happens is that when we die, the mind that we have right now is the same mind we had in previous lifetimes. We've always had the same mind. And this mind, although it is formless, it is a storehouse of uncountable actions, thoughts. And so those thoughts travel with the mind. Every time we take birth, the mind travels along with the soul. And so because we have lived countless lives, and countless times we've had countless different habits, then it's not true that in every life we'll have the same nature, because we are being, in our mind, there are the thought processes of countless lives as humans, and so our nature is going to change in every lifetime. But if you want a devotional nature, then you have to really practice very hard in this life to be of a devotional nature in the next life. Of course, your previous lifetimes will come into play, but you don't want to take a chance. You want to do a lot of devotion in this life to become devotional in the next. What is the science behind meditation? Meditation, that Shri Maharaj Ji calls Rup Dhyan. The science is that the mind does all the thinking. Mind is the only one that does anything for us. And so, as you know, our eyes don't see by themselves. The mind has to get involved. The eyes see, but they don't know what they're seeing. It's the mind that comes along and says, that's a child, and that's a boy, not a girl. The way he's dressed and the way his hair is, that's a boy, not a girl. So the mind sees, the eyes see, but with the mind's help, they see, this is my cousin, this is my brother, this is my sister, like that. And so mind is the one that hears, tastes, touches, and smells everything. So it's not the 5 sense organs by themselves, it's the 5 sense organs, and then they need the mind's help, assistance. So when we are doing devotion, we are engaging our mind in the thoughts of Sri Krishna. So Sri Krishna comes into the mind. We are thinking of him, and then he, in his infinite mercy, he graces the individual, and then he, through the Guru, he sends this divine sattva into the mind. So the mind starts becoming, gradually it starts becoming divine. And I don't mean fully divine, but gradually it starts getting less and less worldly. More and more devotional feelings fill into it, until the mind becomes so accustomed to thinking about Sri Krishna, doing so much Rup Dhyan, that the mind becomes completely divine. So that is the science behind meditation, if that's what you meant. How does it work? So that's how it works. What does it mean to truly live a life of faith? It means that we faithfully live the way you live, in the way that your Guru has instructed you to live. you live in the way that your guru has taught you to live. If you don't have a guru, then the way that you learn from the scriptures, that you should live like, you should have a lot of faith in God, you should find out what is in the scriptures and live your life like that. I don't know exactly what you mean by that, life of faith, because do you mean faithful to my guru's teachings, faithful to faith in what way? So the best I can do right now is to say that we need to follow the instructions of God and Guru to live a life of faith. Or do you mean live by my faith, let's say live by Sanatan Vedic Dharma teachings? Either way, I think you have to be true, you have to live according to the instructions of the scriptures, according to the instructions of your Guru, according to the instructions of God. So you're being faithful to God, you're being faithful to your Guru, you're being faithful to your path. Because otherwise the mind says, you can live like this, and that's what gets us in trouble. That is what has gotten us in trouble, that we have done what mind tells us to do. And we've had great faith in our mind, but we should not trust this mind because it's a very devious mind that we have. It puts us in a lot of trouble, and it pretends to be a friend. It does pretend to be a friend, and we tend to take the mind's instruction. We tend to abide by what the mind says, but we should not. We need to connect our intellect to the Guru's intellect. The Guru says, do this, don't do that, don't do that. And the best thing to do to live a life of faith is to just listen to the Guru's teachings and live by them. Plain and simple. Which creates more bhav, tears of virah or tears of milan? They're both different sentiments. Tears of virah, tears of separation, are hot in temperature. Tears of milan or union, they are cold in temperature, and they're two different sentiments. But what is more beneficial to the sadhak is tears of virah, tears of separation. They are more beneficial. The devotee becomes more devotional when shedding tears of separation. Is coming to temple enough? We hear so much of Guru. Am I doing enough by just coming here? Oh, see, that question is not very clear. So does it mean physically coming to the temple and just saying Jai Ho like this? And we hear so much of Guru. I think what you mean is, do I just come to the temple or do I need to follow the Guru? Well, if that's what you mean, yes, you need to follow the Guru. You need to follow the Guru's teaching. The advantage in Yugal Kunj here in this mandir is that you have the philosophy. Here you get to hear the philosophy of Jagat Guru Uttam Shri Kripaluji Maharaj. So with God's grace, you ended up over here, and the teachings are those of the Jagat Guru of the fifth Jagat Guru in history, whose name will go down in history. After Adi Jagat Guru Shankaracharya, Jagat Guru Nimbarkacharya, Jagat Guru Ramanujacharya, and Jagat Guru Madhvacharya, people will say, and the fifth Jagat Guru was Jagat Guru and Jagat Guru Uttam, Shri Kripaluji Maharaj. So when you go to various temples, and I respect all the temples, but the fact is that there's not just one philosophy that runs that temple. But here, there's one philosophy. You'll never hear anything else. You'll hear one philosophy. And if you think, when you hear it, you think that is of use to you, then you should, it takes time. Take your time, but keep on listening and keep on doing devotion over here as it's being taught and as it's being practiced. And then eventually you'll find the answer yourself. Then you'll say, I want to accept, or I don't want to accept. So just keep coming here, but just coming here is not going to be enough if you want spiritual benefit. So come here and be totally involved in listening to the teachings and following the teachings. And then you say, if you are gaining the benefit that you had hoped to, then accept the Guru. If everything is destined and should not pray to make things work in my life to God when I am at my down, what's the point of seva and having a selfless bhavna? What? If everything is predestined. Everything is not predestined. No, everything is not predestined. when you, what is predestined in life, like the exact moment of death is predestined. How many years you're going to live is predestined, and the exact moment of death is predestined. But there are a couple of other things. How much wealth you'll have is predestined. However, that does not mean that you should not work towards anything, because you are creating your destiny for the future. By performing kriyaman karm, you are performing new actions. You are creating a destiny for the future. Just as in the previous lifetimes, you performed actions with the freedom of will, and you got this destiny. Now you're performing these actions to create a better destiny for yourself in the future. I didn't understand this. What's the point of seva and having that selfless bhavna? I'm sorry, I'm not understanding. One last question. I believe chanting Radhe Radhe attracts Krishna, so I've trained my mind. But when I chant Radhe Radhe and close my eyes, and I see Krishna, and I can't see Radharani. But he's teaching you, telling you that he and Radharani are the same. So there's no difference. You chant Radhe Radhe and Krishna comes, and that means that Radha and Krishna are actually just one. But if you pray to him and pray to Radharani, I want to think of you as well. And you see, when you close your eyes, you see Krishna. It's not that Sri Krishna will come, it's just that you're used to thinking about him, so that's what you think about. You're not used to thinking about Radha, so you think about Radharani and you say, my Divine Mother, I want to think of you, please grace me so that I may think of you. I want to think of both of you, and she will come. She will appear in your Roop Dhyan. You'll be able to think about her. In the meantime, they're both the same anyway. How do I stay devoted even during pain or spiritual dryness? By looking at your previous experiences, that, I practiced devotion and how much bliss I was getting. Right now, I'm not getting that bliss. I'm not tasting that bliss. But this is my dry period, but I will come out of it. This too shall pass. That mantra is a very powerful one. This too shall pass. This dry period will not last forever. It will pass. And then it'll be all good again. And when you feel that spiritual dryness, you should give more time to sadhana. Practice more devotion. Do more seva. Do all that more and more, so that dry spell is finished very quickly. Srimad Sadguru Sarkar ki Jai. Ladli Lal ki Jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe.